Hey everybody, happy Halloween. Oh my goodness. It's been a little while. You guys know that I've been offline for a couple weeks. We had to make sure that this was a special one. So if you didn't know, I had some surgery and I had to find something really special to bring us back online with. So I've got some Frankenstein looking scars, perfectly appropriate for Halloween. Before we get started, I have to thank my incredible sponsors at Five Star Guitars. You guys probably know that Five Star Guitars is based here in Beaverton, Oregon. And if you are a guitarist and you're looking for a great deal on guitars, go to www.fivestarguitars.com. You'll get an amazing selection of guitars. You can get lessons and repairs, and there's no sales tax. So you're going to save a bunch of money and get amazing equipment. So this is them right there, www.fivestarguitars.com. So let them know that I sent you. They'll appreciate it. And perfectly appropriate as well, Cheryl Bland, the amazing merch maven here in the Portland area, has offered her birthday as an opportunity to save our stages. She wants you to support local theater, Aladdin Theater, by going to www.aladdin-theater.com and make a purchase, get some merchandise, buy a gift certificate. The Aladdin is this historic theater in Portland, Oregon that's brought a bunch of amazing artists through. I've played there a bunch of times, and we want to make sure that when this pandemic ends, they've got sustainability. So the only way to do that is to get your support. So go to aladdintheater.com and make a purchase, and then let them know that you did that in honor of Cheryl Bland. So check this out. I'm going to turn off the Trick or Treat soundtrack and bring on horror convention artist, talent booker, my friend Missy Gordon. She's here from the dungeon with Jason Voorhees behind her. So Missy, how you doing, hon? I'm glad to see you.
Hey, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you. I'm so glad to see you here. You're getting stalked by a Thanksgiving Voorhees.
I am. It's Elf. Will
Ferrell. Oh, of course it is. I never realized, but it looks like he actually has like an old pilgrim outfit from the background. But
yeah, he's my all year round in my office, and he's dressed up for Halloween today.
I love it. Oh, okay. Now I see the hair sticking out.
Yeah. You can see him a little.
For those people that don't know, Missy owns, she's the founder of the Scarlet Abbey, which is a horror talent booking agency. You can see them right here if you go to thescarletabbey.com. You want to talk a little bit about what Scarlet Abbey is all about and what you do with them?
Well, the Scarlet Abbey is an appearance booking agency. So what that means is I book talent, musicians, actors, to meet their fans. I book their appearances to meet their fans. So once they become famous, I book them at events, private events, and usually the common events the most well-known are conventions.
Okay.
So I have a lot of horror genre actors, and so we do a lot of horror conventions, and then I have a lot of Comic-Con actors, a lot of talent in that arena, and we do a lot of Comic-Cons, which I'm sure everyone knows what Comic-Cons are. And of course this year it's all been pretty much shut down, so we haven't really gone anywhere, sadly.
You know what, I thought about this as you and I talked. This is kind of like a little mini HorrorCon right here, to be able to bring the guys from your agency and some really cool talent. So before I bring them on, you want to just tell me a little bit about how a actor, either a horror actor or a famous celebrity, gets connected with you at Scarlet Abbey, and then how they go about getting booked for these events.
Well, I started the Scarlet Abbey 12 years ago, and how I started was Kane Hodder. He is the Jason from Friday 13th, 7 through 10.
Okay.
And he is become a good friend of mine, and I just met him. He was doing his book signing tour when I met him, and I was a fan, excuse me. And it's a local haunt that had his book party, and in order to get in to meet Kane Hodder, he had to dress as either a victim or a Jason. Okay. And if selected, you get to go meet him at his book signing party. So I was a victim, a bloody victim, and I won, and I got to go meet him, and we just hit it off. And a couple years later, we stayed in touch, and he just offered. He's just like, you know what? you're really good with people. Why don't you become an agent? And I was a corporate accountant at the time. And I was just like, nope, I'm not leaving my job, not doing it. Then the more he talked to me about it, I was like, you know what? I'll give it a go. So he is the one that got me going in this.
Really?
And he connected me with a lot of the talent that I do have as clients. Nick King is one of them. CJ Graham is another. And basically, the more clients I got, it just filters, and kind of domino effects. And I meet them at these events that I go to. And if I do a good job, they'll keep me. If not, they fire me. But it's pretty cool. It's just a lot of word of mouth and just meeting everybody. And these guys here, I mean, I've been friends with many, many of the clients. They've been with me all these years still.
Wow,
You become family.
Let's bring your family on here. You just brought them up. I've got CJ Graham there. I've got Ryan Lambert. I've got Nick King. I got this is cool, man. I love this. Look at CJ's backdrop there. It's not too many actors out there have their twin as their backup, but it's like you got a bodyguard right there. So CJ Graham, Nick King, Ryan Lambert, we got a couple of guys in LA, and then we've got somebody from my homeland in Montana back there. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys spending Halloween with us. This is cool.
Absolutely.
One really cool thing about this is that I've got a chat. I don't know if you guys can see the chat over on the side of the screen, but we've got folks from Australia, we've got people from the UK, and that have jumped on so far. So I'm glad that they're celebrating Halloween with us. Got people from all over the world now jumping in, and if they've got some questions, I'll make sure that they keep it PG-13 related. But this, for me, man, this is exciting. Most Halloweens we'd be spending. Well, personally, as a musician, almost every Halloween I've ever had has been, playing concerts of some sort. We're dressing up, but typically the horror theme is really what is prevalent, and having prominent horror actors right here is fun. So I want to talk maybe just a little bit about how you guys would have been spending most Halloweens. Maybe start with you, Missy. Do you have a tradition on Halloween?
Dressing up every year. Dressing up, and usually some sort of party or get together. And this year, I won't be having any of that.
I know.
I'm hoping for some trick-or-treaters, but that's about it.
Did you buy a bunch of candy just in case they didn't show up so you can just chomp on it? Yeah.
I did. And I bagged them in nice little baggies ready to give out. So let's hope.
Yeah. Folks, if you're watching right now and you've got kids that are planning on going out to trick or treat, maybe you can pop it in the chat. My plan is to put a whole bunch of candy in a bowl with a bottle of hand sanitizer and just put it outside my door. If you've got other things that you're planning on doing, something safe, let me know. I would guess all of you guys probably would not have been doing a horror con during Halloween, but do you do private events? Maybe start with you, CJ. Have you done Halloween events on this particular day?
Actually, I did. I had one booked for this weekend, a convention that was canceled as a result. And even 2 weeks ago, one that was booked and canceled, and one next week and booked and canceled as a result. So unfortunately, it's not that important. There was too many people that lost their lives, so I'm okay with not doing the convention. I'm in good space.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate of what's transpired in 2020. So I'm in a good space, good place. It's unfortunate we missed it, but the fans will make it up to you next year in 2021.
Yeah. I would bet you guys are all really in touch with your fans right now. I mean, this is one thing that, people need kind of an escape and some entertainment to take their mind off of all that's going on right now. And you're right. It's unfortunate, but it will be an opportunity for somebody to really express their appreciation for what they missed, by next year. So, how about you, Nick? Did you have anything booked for this Halloween or years past that you normally do as a tradition?
I usually go to the desert and go camping and go riding and stuff like that. But with everything that's going on, nobody really wanted to go out this year. So unfortunately, maybe next year.
Yeah. You can ride by yourself out there and really socially distant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a particular place that you go to?
We go to like Jawbone or like Cal City and stuff like that. I've gone to Glamis for Halloween before, but particularly like California City.
Okay. That's cool. How about you, Ryan? What's a Halloween tradition for you?
I mean, I usually, hit a party or two. I'm not really one to dress up anymore too much. The last time I did it, like I went too crazy on it, like mentally, like spending like weeks, like trying to find the exact specific things so that I could be Marty McFly.
Okay.
And I mean, I had it down. I had the vest, I had the exact shirt, shoes, the watch, I had the Walkman. My hair was perfect. Like I looked exactly like Michael J. Fox. And
with the DeLorean?
I went to the party, and literally no one knew who I was.
Oh,
and I was like,
no.
I'm out. I'm out of
Yeah.
here. This is the last time I'm doing it.
I would think, man, you guys are typecast, right? So you can't show up at a Halloween party in costume unless you're in your character that you're known for, right? Do you do that? Have any of you guys gone to a Halloween party dressed in character?
No.
I haven't, but I've been to parties where someone else was dressed as my character in the Monster Squad, and I just kind of casually walked by them. Nice costume.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks. Like, you probably don't even know what it's from.
Oh,
I'm like, I don't know what it's from, but that's cool. But it's cool. You look cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's bad, man. With the like Nick and CJ, but for you guys, obviously, there's a ton of makeup and a ton of costuming that goes on. I've seen, the sort of behind the scenes of makeup for both of you guys. Like CJ, your prep for the Voorhees face blows my mind, to see how much stuff you had to put on. So I would guess that, you're going out for Halloween and costume, you can pretty much just put the mask on and not have to worry about 3 hours of prep, right? So,
yeah, I mean, last year I did not have a convention, so I did a thing called Trunk and Treat, where all the hot rodders in town pulled up their cars and opened their trunks for the kids in town. So I just sat there and signed 8x10s for free for the kids, so they had a safe environment. But the year before that, I did do a drive-through Halloween, which I was in full wardrobe, and at the very end of the drive-through, there was Jason standing there with a spear in the middle of the road, which was me in full wardrobe. So each year is a little different, but yeah, I've done it, and some of the makeup was intense. Who knew? 3 decades later, we'd be talking about it. So I'm humbly appreciative that I've been fortunate enough to be one of the iconic hockey mask wearers that's pretty well worldwide known. So it's kind of nice, and it's humbling.
Yeah. I'm glad that you can stay humble with it. You guys have all been in the business for a while, and as we all know, musicians and actors that lose that humility, that kind of let the stuff go to their head. It's disheartening, right? As a fan, when you meet your idols, and whether you're in the horror genre or music genres, and you meet those people, and maybe you're at an airport. I saw some interview, CJ, that you did where somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, wait, you're CJ Graham, you're Jason Voorhees," and it sounded to me like you appreciated the fact that they were cordial. And I would guess with all of you guys, you've been around other actors and musicians that were a little condescending, a little pretentious, right? So does that keep you grounded a little bit? I'm
probably like both Nick and Ryan. When fans come up to us, they ask us a lot of questions. I think the guys will agree. And I personally make sure that I answer the question with the same enthusiasm, even though I may have answered it 1 million times. To that fan, it's the very first time they've heard it, the answer. So I kind of really do keep grounded on it. And I'm not going to speak for Nick or Ryan, but my gut tells me they've got the same feeling, since we all are represented by Missy, because, Missy's got the same kind of heart.
Yeah. This to me, and I will, in response to that, I will tell you, Missy and I have known each other for a good handful of years here through the music community. And one of her dear friends was in a band with me. And the first time I met her, she did have her heart first. It was more about trying to help promote people and support people, which is, I think, what the Scarlet Abbey really seems to be all about. And when we talked about doing this as a Halloween special and something kind of creepy and themed, she said, let's make sure that we can really promote the guys and what they've got in terms of merchandise or any kind of promotional things. So I know, first of all, anybody that wants to know about future bookings or any of the personal sites, they can go here to the Scarlet Abbey website and at least contact Missy to maybe talk about private booking or convention booking. But I know, I was talking to the guys just before you hopped on, CJ, about their pages. They've got Facebook and Instagram pages. CJ, I know you've got a site that you can actually sell your pretty remarkable Jason Voorhees merchandise. You've got machetes and masks. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. I have a website that, again, 3 decades later, I just mailed out a machete today. People tell you and they want to buy a machete or a mask or an 8x10. And again, with this year, 2020, it's been difficult with the bookings. So you don't get to meet the fans one-on-one. So, there are a few more podcasts this year and more one-on-one, some phone interviews with radio stations to keep everything up. And you know how that is. It's you want to keep up that right pace with the fans, because at the end of the day, the fans are what put us all on the screen right now. So,
amen. Yeah, I did mention to Nick and Ryan, CJ, that's why I do this as well, right? So normally I'd be out touring, playing music, and we had the biggest year of my life booked prior to 2020, prior to COVID, and I was looking forward to it because I, just like you guys, I connect with people on the road. They become family to me, So when we're touring, I can pick out certain parts around the world that I'm excited to go back and see some folks in Germany or Europe, in England. Or my friend Michelle just popped up here on the chat. She's from Orlando, and she worked for both Disney and Delta, and so she was traveling a lot. I'd see her in all sorts of different places, and amazingly, boy, this poor gal, she had 25 years, 10 months with Disney, and was just let go with email. Not even it was one of those dear employee emails, but you're no longer needed for 26 years because of COVID. So I'm glad she's hanging out with us, at least. If she can take lemonade or lemons and turn it into hanging with us. Thanks for being here, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Missy, when you guys have done these conventions, have you done any that all three of these guys have been at together?
Not together. No, I don't think you three have yet. No.
That's too much machismo, too much testosterone in one room. Yeah. And I was just going to ask if there are any crazy fun stories that you may have heard about. Because, Missy, in the background, I'm sure you hear about what fans might be doing to engage with the talent. So maybe we could start with you, Nick, and we can kind of go around the room and talk a little bit about fan experiences at those conventions. And do you have any crazy stalkers at all?
Nick, word of advice, buddy. Fifth Amendment.
Exactly.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
They might be watching too, so I got to be careful.
You don't have to name names.
No, I mean like my first convention ever. It was in Kentucky, Missy, and it was DJ Trey, and I'm sure you know who that is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we just went to an after party, and he tried to bring me into I guess a threesome, and it just didn't go well, I guess you could say. And so that was probably one of the craziest things I've ever done.
All you had to say was Kentucky, and we already knew. I before I asked that question, I probably should, because I did preface it saying, is there anything off limits? But I didn't really think about the after party situations. I was thinking more about conventions, because typically in those kind of events, right, you've got sort of a line, there's a little cattle call, people come up and they get an 8x10 that they might want signed and get a picture with you guys. In the music world, right, meet and greets have been where a lot of musicians can get a little bit more sustainable music, right? So selling meet and greet packages is an opportunity for them to make up for income that's lost by streaming royalties and that kind of thing. But after shows, you'll see certain artists that are really hesitant about doing the arm around meet and greet pictures. And I know specifically we just did a big 80s festival before the pandemic that seemed like I was just getting my junk grabbed every time we were doing these pictures. So anything that you had to I know that CJ, you're pretty stout in stature, right? So anybody grabbing your junk is probably they're gonna have to run fast before
Well, Kevin, to be fair, I mean, before the last 20 years I've been running casino resorts as a general manager or chief operating officer, so I've been a suit and tie guy. However, when I was in Los Angeles, you have to remember I ran nightclubs. I was the general manager of Chippendales. Oh. I was the general manager of the original Trample London, owned by Jackie Collins, Joan Collins' sister, members only.
Yeah.
Prince would come in and sit at table 43, drink red wine. Stallone, table 5, Cristal. Tom Jones with his son at the bar. So I mean,
So you're going to tell me that Stallone grabbed your junk?
That's why I was saying, Nick, Fifth Amendment, be careful. It's not that it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just a very sensitive topic in today's. And you know this, and like you said, I mean, running casinos, I had a lot of meet and greets, the artist, you know, be it Steven Tyler, Earth, Wind, and Fire, OJ's. And they were really good about the meet and greets with the fans, which were my big players before the show started. But there is some sensitivity where some people get a little bit beyond, and they do reach for more. And to be fair, and I think Ryan and I think Nick will say sometimes the artists get a little aggressive.
Yeah, right.
Is that fair, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've seen some things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say with
we all on the same page.
I would say with personally with like fans. I mean, I think one of the things, just to go back to like, you know, where this all started for me personally, was that like none of us in this film Monster Squad, like we didn't know any of this was actually happening from 1987 when the movie completely tanked. Thank you, Lost Boys. All the way up until like 2006, when we started to hear like, wait, what's going on? And then we started to get invited to screenings, and they were all sold out. And then we started to go to conventions. So for us, it didn't hit us for like 30 years.
Really? Okay.
So we were like all taken aback and couldn't believe what these people would come up to. Like girls would come up like shaking, like, I can't believe that I'm meeting you. I'm like, me? Like, I work in a bookstore in San Francisco. Like, what are you talking about? You're insane. I'm in a band, like, you know, my whole life. That's mostly what I've been doing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see. And it just snowballed into this, like, basically a cult classic, which is why we, a documentary about it just came out a couple days ago.
About Monster Squad.
Directed by Andre Gower, who was the star of Monster Squad. And a wonderful crew followed us around to all these conventions, and it's really not a documentary about the film. It's the documentary about why did this happen, and it's basically made for the fans. But it's about them. It's more about them.
About them bringing back the popularity.
There's a million interviews with fans. Just wearing T-shirts that no one understands at these conventions. Like in the film Monster Squad, the main character wears a T-shirt that says Stephen King rules. And then people around these conventions, they're wearing that shirt, Stephen King rules. It looks exactly like the same one he wears. And you see other people, other fans, like wearing a Jason shirt or like a Freddy shirt or Michael Myers shirt or something. And they go, Stephen King does rule. It's like, oh, you don't know what this is.
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, no, what is that? And they're like, okay, I'm going to school you on like my favorite movie growing up when I was a kid. So to me, like the fans that we meet, it's like, you know, what CJ was saying. It's like, you want to engage. You want to talk to them. You want to hear their stories. And it's funny to hear those stories, you know, the same story over and over again, but that's fascinating to me. It's like, oh, you had a squad when you were a kid, and like you built a tree house and you made the cards, and everyone wanted to be this character or that character from the movie. And it was so interesting to us that we were like, this is a movie. This is another movie right here. So let's make a documentary. So it's out now. Just came out.
It's on streaming platforms?
It's streaming everywhere, VOD, and it's Blu-ray, you know.
Okay.
Wherever you buy Blu-rays, you don't have to give money to Jeff Bezos or whatever, but like it's there. It's there. It's called Wolfman's Got Nards, which is the most famous line in the film.
Right.
And it's fascinating to watch. I mean, it's a tearjerker too. It really is. Like I cry when I watch it. I'm like, this is really sad.
Well, I would imagine. I mean, you lived it, right? So watching. You know, thinking about the last 30 years between the time that Monster Squad came out and you saw other horror, you know, you mentioned Lost Boys, when that movie came and sort of took the world by storm. And you see an opportunity that should or could have been yours, then what do you do? Do you just jump right back in on the horse and try and stay in the genre?
Yeah, when you're a kid, I was 16 when it came out. I was 15 when we were shooting it, and then The Lost Boys did well. We had like a lot of marketing problems and a lot of like, who is this made for? Like now we know that this was gateway horror for kids.
Sure.
This was like this is something you can show your kids and go, we love horror, but this is what you can watch to get into what we like to watch. To go watch, Friday the 13th 6. Like you can watch this first, see
Sure.
if you get into it and all that. Yeah, so Lost Boys was a little too much for kids, but like the teens that went to go see Lost Boys, they thought Monster Squad was for babies.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was like this weird, and we were kind of like the first tween movie, I think. Like it was kind of like right in the pocket, but also they marketed it terribly, and it wasn't very good. And Lost Boys kind of was way like hipper and cooler, and all that. And the funny thing is, I think we all auditioned for Lost Boys as well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I remember auditioning for the Lost Boys, and then I got this one instead.
How about you, Nick? I mean, in terms of your rise to stardom, I mean, Sinister is a really great, really freaky series of movies. Were you? I know that you've been in the business for quite a while, right? And you grew up in LA. So, tell me about the first experience you might have had with horror as you got into the business.
Well, I mean, my first movie, I was 7 years old. My dad's a longtime stunt coordinator. So my first movie was Max Keeble's Big Move.
Right.
And then I did a couple TV shows. Then school got in the way, and then right after that, I pretty much hopped into like Paranormal Activity with my dad, Insidious, and all that stuff. So I've been around a lot of horror movies. My dad did Lords of Salem. So I've been, like I said, I haven't been in front of the camera, but I've been at least behind the scenes on a lot of the horror movies.
You were on set, so you could kind of see how the films were produced, and do you feel like that kind of gave you an advantage, at least understanding the business and kind of overcome some onstage jitters?
I mean, obviously I've never done anything like Sinister prior to that, let alone acting for that matter. And so I just watched, Halloween, all Freddy Krueger, all those guys, and just try to get inspired by their movements and everything. And I think I did okay job,
Yeah. You talked about the stunt coordination. I know, CJ, you were stunt man, right? Before you got the Jason Voorhees gig?
I mean, true story. It's, I never was a stunt man.
Oh, you weren't?
Never went to stunt school, never done a stunt in my life until I stepped on the screen and they started kicking my butt and setting me on fire.
I assumed, because you do all the stunts, right? The movie. Did I lose you for a second?
I hear you.
Yes. I lost you for just a second, CJ. I'm sorry. It's that Montana Wi-Fi.
And I had none. I had never been to stunt school. To get the part, I had to be able to do my own stunts. So I was a quick learner, and I had only been on the military a few years. I had a BA, a bad attitude. So I just thought I could do it, 6'3", 240 something. And I don't know, I did. I mean, I was fortunate. I didn't hurt anybody, most importantly, including myself, but more importantly, the other actors or actresses. Were very trustworthy. But no, I've never been to stunt school. I just stepped in and learned how OJT, on the job training, was successful.
Yeah, a lot of the actors that seem to do their own stunts, they've got some war wounds, man. Do you have anything that was beyond smashing a thumb in a door or anything like that? No,
personally, I'm lucky. Yeah, I walked out with bumps and bruises, nothing else, and no injuries that linger on many years. All my injuries are after the fact.
Emotional injuries from trauma.
Yeah.
Man, it's such it's an iconic, scary series, and even just sort of doing a little bit of prep when Missy and I were talking about this yesterday, watching little clips of each of the movies, and you hear, you know, the echo whisper, you know, those things. I would bet that you probably get that every time you do interviews or somebody comes up to you and asks for an autograph. They have to go that route, but there's an emotional trigger that kind of goes along with that, you know. So it's one of the spookiest things about it is the anticipation, you know, and all that, the lead up.
Well, I think, me personally, I think it's more of a, you know, anybody can put a mask on, any type of mask, and I don't care if they're big, tall, short, medium. As soon as you put a mask on, be it Batman or Jason, you take that role seriously. People, when they come up to my table, 7 years old with a hockey mask, they don't talk to me. They just stand there with their little machete, and their parent does all the talking.
Really?
And they're 7 years old, and I'm not exaggerating. 2 weeks ago, I did a show, 3 weeks ago, actually, and a young man came up, he was 7 years old. So the generational flow from a 7-year-old to a 70-year-old, and I'm 63. So it's right in the pocket, as Ryan was saying. You know, it's just awe. You just kind of go, you have to be kidding me. And these young folks playing the video games, Friday the 13th, you know, I just look at it as, you know, wow, I never knew. You know, 3 years ago, I retired from running casino resorts, and all of a sudden the popularity had grown so much that you're getting a call a couple times a month to go do a convention. You actually have to say no because it's just too much work when you're supposed to be retired. And I have a ranch, so I have horses. I mean, you know, Kevin, with you coming from Montana, you know, you got horses and alpacas and beehives. I do shovel shit every day. So, you know, I got to be out there cleaning up stables.
Yeah.
So I have some things that I just can't run off and do a convention, even though it is a blast. And I think the other guys will agree. It's for me, again, like I said, it's a very humbling experience to be sought out.
Yeah.
You know,
you guys touched on that about, you know, that reverence for the fans. And I know when, you know, the music business, when we're traveling, I try to make sure that I talk to everybody when we're at shows. You know, sometimes other band members that I've had have said, you know, you kind of need to remain a little more aloof. You know, you need to kind of stand back a little bit because you can't let people into that circle. And for me, I feel like if these people hadn't shown up, bought a ticket, bought hotel rooms, flown in from wherever, and spent, you know, time out in 110-degree weather to come and watch our show, I'd be sitting at home in front of a podcast, you know. So I'm grateful every single day that they're still there. And I don't ever want them to feel like we take it for granted. I think it's the same in any entertainment business that we're in, you know. So, you know, Missy's really done, I think, a great job of assembling great guests or great talent, you know, that respects people. Because if you're at the conventions, word of mouth travels fast, right? So if there's a promoter that's putting on a particular event and they hear that maybe one particular talent person is less cordial or more difficult to work with, you know, chances are they're not going to get hired back, right? Or at least the experience is not as good, and it taints the whole perspective of what a fan might have on an actor. Because you know, if they just dealt with, you know, Joe Schmo down at another table, and that person was off-putting and made them feel less than, they might not even hit your guys' table because then they're going to paint every actor as being that way. I know it's that way with music for sure. So let's talk a little bit about actors, because you know, we lost Sean Connery right today, and iconic actor, man, somebody that, you know, it's really changed the industry in a big way. I mean, I was a big Bond fan for sure. Felt like he was a remarkable James Bond. Did you guys have any in particular Sean Connery stories that grabbed you at an early age?
I wish. I mean, my first Bond was Roger Moore, of course.
Oh yeah.
Not that he's my Bond, but like that's who my parents took me to see, like in the theaters first.
Sure.
And I had to go back and discover, and of course, there's no one like him ever.
Sure.
I think my first experience with him was Time Bandits.
Oh yeah.
I think that was the first thing I ever saw him in, not knowing that he was already this iconic, you know, actor. And then when I went back and started loving every Bond movie they've ever made, I think Thunderball is probably my personal favorite.
Nice.
Bond fighting sharks. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Pretty
right.
badass.
Yeah, if Fonzie can do it, Sean Connery can do it, right? So
Fonzie just jumped
He
over
ju-
like a fake one. Like,
right, yeah.
I think Sean was actually punching sharks underwater. Like,
He did his own stunts for that one.
I think
Yeah.
so. I mean, there's the movie Zombie, like that, where they're zombies fighting sharks underwater. That was pretty cool. But Sean in Thunderball fighting sharks was probably my favorite.
Right
So yeah,
on.
that's the first thing I thought of when I woke up and I saw the news. I'm like, oh, but that image popped into my head first, and I was like, maybe I should post that.
I mean, we've lost iconic actors and musicians a lot this last year, and maybe, we're already stuck sort of in an isolated place and with COVID where we're seeing a lot of stuff and ruminating about it a lot more. Eddie Van Halen passing a couple weeks ago was a huge deal, especially, I mean, for all of us, but I think musicians,
Maybe my first hero, my first musical hero. I used to imitate him for my mom, and she would laugh her ass off. I just got put on that big smile and like,
yeah. Well,
I like play my guitar and like do like a little like spin around and like dance around to. It's actually the first record I bought with my own money was Van Halen 1.
Really?
And,
Eruption.
Forget about it.
Yep. Yeah.
Ridiculous. But yeah, that hit me pretty hard. Most of them they don't. Most times I'm like, Connery had I mean, what was he, 90 something? Like he had a good run. And
Sure.
He's an iconic human, and he, everybody in his family should be very proud to have,
It's a great way to look at it. It impacted a lot of people in a really positive way.
Like when
CJ,
Prince died, Prince was, that was really sort of, that was super tragic. But I had people going, I can't believe Prince is dead. Like my life, my heart. And I'm like, did you know Prince?
You know what?
Everything that you love about Prince is still there for you. It's tragic for his family that he's dead. It's tragic that he's dead. But like everything you loved about Prince is still in existence. And guess what? The last 6 records he made, you didn't hear a lick of that. You didn't
Very
buy
rarely.
those records. You're like Purple Rain, Sign of the Times. You're from Under the Cherry Moon. You're way back there. And like he's made like 40 records since then. You don't know any of those records. So, there is a personal thing to it, and it is tragic. But I think people got to like realize that the work is what you're in love with.
Good point.
The thing that you connect to.
CJ, you were going to jump in there something when he mentioned Eddie.
Well, I was, running casinos. I collect autographed guitars over the years, and relocating to Montana, and I have about 50 guitars and several microphones. I was actually surprised, Kevin, that I started looking and I realized that, Eddie Money had passed, and I had a guitar that he signed for us when he performed, and Deborah Reynolds signed a microphone and she had passed. Montgomery Gentry, their country band, one of them had passed in a helicopter accident. Davy Jones from the Monkees, and I'm just thinking, I didn't realize how many people that I had signed guitars over the last 12 years have passed. Right. And you start looking, you just kind of go, wow. I mean, but it's, again, I'm 63. I tell people I'm in the last 10% of my life. I will not live to be 90 like Mr. O'Connor, but, I look at it as it's been a good run, as he indicated. I think that's a great way of putting it, and I'm happy to be where I'm at today. But it is going, wow. I remember meeting or having them, Kevin, like having to sign an autograph guitar with the band while they're performing, and then all of a sudden it's like they're disappearing. Right.
And, fortunate for you to have that time with them, because you shared just that one moment that a lot of people, how about you, Nick? Do you have any reverence for some lost idols that we've lost this year?
I mean, I'm only 30, so it's like, it's a different era for you guys. You guys grew up with all these people. So
Nick, that's a good way to put it. I'm only 30.
Nick.
I got underwear older than that.
Yeah.
Let me start by saying I'm really young, and then I'll answer your question.
Yeah. Nick, I've got a...
He's got style to his answers.
That's right. Yeah. I've got a kid. I got a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old. And both of my kids, when Eddie Van Halen passed, they reminded me how I raised them on the first few Van Halen albums. And my oldest son, was emulating David Lee Roth, before he could even speak. And so and I was a Van Halen fan, but it wasn't that I was that hardcore a Van Halen fan. I just wanted to raise them with the proper amount of culture, So and honestly, to your point, Ryan, I thought as a teenager that I could be Prince. I was that much a fan. Growing up in Montana, I think I may have been the only Prince fan, but I dressed up like him on Halloween. In fact, those pictures just surfaced on a Flock of Seagulls fan board the other day, which was embarrassing, but
hopefully not blackface.
Unfortunately, blackface.
Oh,
yeah. But I know. Had I known, but it was a different time, So, and I'm not running for office, so it shouldn't come back to haunt me. My friends know that there was nothing targeted that way. But yeah, that one got me. And I'm a dear friend, and I play with Jennifer Batten, if you know her from Michael Jackson's band and Jeff Beck's band. And so I saw her 2 nights ago. We talked about Eddie because she has mentioned that she's thankful to the Beat It solo for buying her first house. When she learned that song to audition for Michael Jackson when she joined the band, and that turned into her first home in Los Angeles, and now she's up here in Oregon and has her place because of that. And I was with her when Michael Jackson passed, and we talked about it, and it was a different kind of longing for his loss. She was close to him, he was her employer for a long time and many world tours and, Super Bowls and that kind of thing. But when Eddie passed, I thought for sure this was going to be a really devastating blow. But instead, we had gone to see him, one of his last tours that he came through Portland, and he had just taken a third of his tongue out, right, from his cancer surgery, and yet he was still smoking. And she's like, I don't get it. I just, it doesn't make sense to me. It was a disappointment to her. So she was disappointed for sure, but we're going to have a little retrospective Van Halen show, I think, on All Access Live to talk about him a little bit. But it's just interesting to see how people react that maybe aren't in the business. You guys are actors. You're in this business. You know that when an iconic actor passes away, you can have two ways to look at it. If you knew them, it's a tragic loss because they may be like family, but the way Ryan put it was really great, that the work is still there and they've left a mark on us, right? So and that never goes away, right? Not just on us, but that legacy, Sean Connery is going to be, for generations. People are going to go back and rediscover those early Bond films and a lot of his work just because of what he's put out, the breadth and depth and quality of the work. So legacy-wise, tell me about your guys' legacy. I mean, Nick, I'd love to know, as the young punk in the group here, you want to talk a little bit about what your legacy, what you'd like your legacy to be known for?
I mean, Sinister is obviously, it was dropped down a little bit, but it's actually starting to resurface, getting popular again and stuff like that. And so I got asked a long time ago, would I be mad if someone played, Mr. Boogie or Bughuul in future movies? And I said personally no, because I started it. I did the first two, and I think that's cool that it's just my name on the beginning of a franchise, and that's what I like as far as dynasty or whatever.
Yeah, the pioneer.
Yeah,
that's the. Do you have children?
I don't know.
Okay, I was just gonna say, if you had children, when would you first introduce them to Bughuul? Because I think you get, maybe it's hard for you to be objective, right, in your own movies. So you just say, oh, there's that on camera, kind of forgetting that it could really screw their head up if they see how traumatizing it'd be.
I mean, I have two nieces, almost the third one in January, but the oldest is almost 7, and I haven't even introduced her to that yet. So probably, I don't know, 10-ish.
Okay, yeah.
That's for my nieces. As my children, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe 4.
Okay. Ryan, you mentioned that Monster Squad has this new, like you said, 2006 was when things kind of started coming around. So it is a real legacy builder, right? That it stood the test of time, and now it's come out and become a cult classic, and a lot of people are discovering it now for the first time, and then the people that were really into it back then are saying, hey, this if you haven't yet seen Monster Squad, go back and see the special, how special it was. Do you have as a musician and as an actor, how would you like to be known as far as legacy goes?
Well, the thing is, like when I said 2006, I mean that's just when we found out about it.
Okay.
You know, it had been going on the entire time, but without like the internet and all any sort of social media or anything happening before that time, it was just sort of word of mouth, I guess, underground. The definition of a cult, it was never on DVD. It was on Laserdisc and VHS. So if you had I've signed so many like actual VHS tapes from the 80s. They're like, this was mine. This is my tape. I've worn it out, and now it doesn't even play anymore. That kind of freaks me out. But yeah.
Nick, what he's talking about, these were the cassette players that actually would turn wheels.
We used to have these giant machines in our front loading.
I still got one.
Right.
I do too. I have mine too. Legacy is a strong word. I am content with knowing that I was a part of something that will most likely continue until the earth explodes.
Yeah.
Like horror is
like 3 more years.
Horror is a genre and a family oriented. All the classics, I know so many families that I've met over these years that like now they have little kids that are wearing the shirts, and like you were saying, like the little kid dressed as Jason standing next to his parents playing the part while his parents talk, and he's just like this creepy kid standing there. I've seen all that, and it's incredible, and that just keeps going. It just keeps going and going and going. So I guess I'm on the cover of the box. I'm in the film. People have like tattoos of me on their arms, so I'm good on the cult.
Missy, show me yours.
I won the cult fad. Missy has 2 tattoos of me.
Right. Yeah, but she can't show those on camera.
We won't mention where those are. But one's recent. It's not even my character, but it's me now.
Right.
Actually, I'm going to interrupt a second, Ryan. You're on my chest.
Oh my goodness! Look at this. Oh, that is awesome.
Oh my God! I drew that.
That's so cool.
That.
I drew that.
It says, "I'm in the
goddamn club, aren't I?" Yeah, that's my line. Yeah,
that
just
is
little stick figures for the fans to put on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I love this.
So yeah, like legacy, I've got it. I have that cemented for that particular thing. I am a musician. I have a new record coming out, but like, I don't know, like that's just something I've always done. Maybe when I was like in my 20s, I was like, I'm gonna be the biggest rock star in the world.
Yeah.
Like now it's like that's just what I do. I can't help not doing it.
I
have other things that I want to do in my life. I mean, I'm still always gonna put out records, but I'm back sort of in LA trying to create a new legacy, a new thing, writing and producing other things before the virus hit. Thank you. So basically now I'm just sitting in my underpants in my house, but when this all ends, I've got a plethora of writing for everyone to produce and direct and all that. So
when's the record coming out?
It's one of those things where like right now we're like arguing about artwork.
Okay. But it's mixed and mastered and ready to go?
I'm going to draw a stick figure on a T-shirt, and that's going to be the album art.
It worked for Pearl Jam.
Exactly.
What's it? What's the? Is it under your name, under Ryan Lambert?
No, it's my band. It's my band in San Francisco called Kill Moi.
Okay, like en français.
This is C.
Okay.
We. I live in LA, so C. I say C every
right. Yeah.
It's a second record for this particular band. The first record was called "Hold Me, Motherfucker."
Nice.
And And so this record is going to be called No Seriously, Hold Me Motherfucker.
Okay, so Walmart's not picking that one up, but you can still get that at other streaming locations.
Anyway, and we're not looking for any of that kind of thing. But yeah.
Right. Oh man, well,
It'll be out
CJ.
soon. It'll be out soon.
Okay, folks, look for Kill Moi, and make sure that we talk about legacy. I think you've cemented some of your legacy right behind you, CJ. There's not a place that you can go that you don't know that mask. First of all, what part of Montana are you in?
I'm right above Billings, about 10 miles.
Really? Okay. Wow. So yeah, you're up in the sort of the Rimrock area, right?
Yeah. In fact, I live on a Rimrock. I'm up on one of the plateaus at about 4,000 feet.
No kidding. Wow. I'm a Bozemanite. That's where I grew up. I'm born in Missoula. I've lived in Great Falls for a long time, but I'm from Bozeman. My old bandmate was the DA there in Billings, and so now he's a ambulance chaser. So, but crazy guitarist. Got lots of stories that we could never tell on this show together. But Montanans have as you know, there's a warmth and I think a connectivity that Montanans have for each other. So I would bet, even as an iconic actor and somebody that's been in the entertainment business for a long time, I would bet you don't get mobbed from a lot of autograph hunters just showing up at your doorstep all the time. I bet you're kind of left alone quite a bit.
Well, part of it's because you wear a hockey mask. Nobody knows who you are.
Okay.
But twofold. I'll circle back around to Nick on this one. Nick, here's how you know when you're old, buddy.
Okay.
It's when a gentleman comes up to you and they, hey, you live in Montana. What's it look like? And you tell them, well, are you familiar with the Ponderosa from the show Bonanza? And they go, what?
Right.
Never heard of it. Then you know you're old, Nick, just so you know how it worked, buddy.
All right. Thank you, sir.
But
Nick, so the Ponderosa, Nick, was the... No, I'm sorry.
But it's when you said the plateaus, that's where I'm at. It's just similar to that with the pines. As far as the image of Jason, I've been really fortunate, with the guys that have played it. And, I say it in a humble way. I always tell people there's probably 1.4 billion people in India. And if you take a picture of Tom Cruise and show it to them, they'll say, Tom Cruise. Take a picture of C.J. Graham or Kane Hodder. You turn it around for the Friday the 13th mask, they'll go Jason, Friday the 13th.
Right.
Once they connect it, the connectivity, it's kind of awe. I think with all of us in one form or another. And once they connect it, they're just amazed because, here you are in breathing, living color, so to speak. And I think the movies that we've all participated in are real. They're things that could truly happen outside your window. To pull it up and see a hockey mask or a Michael Myers, all of us just standing out there. It's not like there's computers and green screen cables and people jumping from airplane to airplane. I mean, that's great. It's entertainment, but it's a different form of entertainment. It's got some realistic to it. The old Universal horror movies, you think of The Mummy and you think of Frankenstein. It does, make the hairs in the back of your neck stand
right.
up. So,
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm very fortunate. People do know I'm very quiet about it, humbly, but I work out it's a veterans gym, military only, and they're shooting a documentary there about suicide and one of the people knew that I played Jason and asked me if I would participate in a documentary Q&A with them, to step forward in that format. And it's just a nice platform. I use it positively, and I'm very appreciative to be here.
Man, that's a great way to look at it. Again, being humble and using your powers for good. Man, that's super heroic. I love hearing that. I've left Missy out of this because I meant to have her sort of co-host this thing, and she's kind of the star of the show in a big way. But I
am not. I like to hear everybody and stay at.
It's fascinating. But,
I'm good where I'm at.
Well, what I want to know from you, Missy, is you've been around the horror genre for a while now. So, what do you think makes a really successful horror movie?
I'm the wrong person to ask that. However,
do you go see them? Do you go watch them?
All the time.
Yeah.
That's part of my job. And I rewatch. Like I just saw the whole Friday 13th series again. I watched 6 this morning again.
Nice.
The best one, by the way.
Right.
What?
Scouts On are the best one.
Jason Lives, man.
Jason Lives is the best Friday the 13th movie. I like
so-
Jason X too. I'm kind of in the minority of Jason X, but like as far as the Friday the 13th movies goes, 6 is by far the best one.
I love 6 and I love 7. It's a toss up for me. But I will say though, the music in 6 I love. That's my favorite. Alice. I mean, you can't go wrong with Alice.
Amen.
And Sinister. Sinister's awesome. Nick knows this. I'm a huge Sinister fan, and
so let me ask, what do you like about that? Is it the anticipation of what's to come, or is it the slasher violent stuff, or what is it that gets you in a horror movie?
I like the unexpected. I like the slasher. I really do. It's weird, but I really do. I just have that part about me that I just love, and I'm just drawn to them. I don't know. And
Would you be
lucky.
Do you want to be one of the victims in one of the movies?
I would love to. That would be great.
Yeah.
I would have a hard time not laughing though.
Yeah.
All excited and giddy.
Does that happen, you guys, on set? Dude, like in the midst of this where it's supposed to be just completely just like scary, and then you've got actors or actresses just cracking up and laughing about inappropriate things?
I would laugh all the time in my mask and nobody could tell, so I loved it.
Yeah, right.
I think that like I don't know, when we were kids shooting this thing, or whenever I was shooting anything as a kid, there was just such a professionalism surrounding you that it was kind of hard to picture yourself just like ruining everything.
Right.
I mean, nowadays I'll be like, cut, I'm dying, I can't handle this, like I'm freaking out, this is hilarious. But you know, when you're a kid, you're just like, okay, we have to like get this right. And I mean, I don't think I screwed up too many takes. But yeah, there's always like a few times where you're just like, you know, staring at someone and you're like, remember the thing that just happened off camera where like, you know, you spilled soup on your nuts.
Right.
Like, hilarious. And now I can't stop thinking about that. So you gotta kind of breathe through it.
Right. Yeah.
The whole crew's like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, we're hungry. Like, we gotta get out of here.
We've got soup to get on our nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, I would love to be a fly on the wall on one of the sets of any of the 3 of your guys' movies. I think it'd be fun to watch you guys in character. I think this backstage hang that I provide is really cool for fans of horror, you know, to kind of get to know the real personality behind you guys. And sure. I got to say, not having met any of the 3 of you gentlemen, it's been really fun to see the humility. And, you know, obviously there's some camaraderie there. And you guys share a lot in common in terms of, you know, your both legacy you set and also, you know, path for you and your respect for people that have supported you along the way. I got to just tell you, I'd love maybe for you guys to share a little bit about how they can contact you, whether it be through a personal website or get merchandise. I will start by saying, no matter what, if by first you can go to the Scarlet Abbey and thescarletabbey.com and reach any of these actors and other guests through Missy if you contact her there. But maybe Nick, how can somebody contact you and find out how they can get some merchandise and autographs?
The best way is through Facebook or Instagram. I can't talk about it, but I'm doing a big autograph signing in 2 weeks starting. So, you know, pretty excited about that. But yeah, Instagram or Facebook. My Twitter got hacked, so that's gone.
Okay. And is it just through Nick King or Nicholas King? How did they get you?
It's my Facebook is Nick King, and then my Instagram is I'm Nick King 08.
Okay, cool. How about you, Ryan?
Instagram is probably the best way to stay informed if you're interested in anything, because I'll always promote or post something that I'm doing at the time, and that's just Ryan Lambert 111.
Okay, that's your Insta.
My Facebook is kind of like, I try to keep that more for like my friends and family and stuff like that.
Sure.
But other than that, you can go to like squaddoc.com. You can go to squaddoc on Instagram. You can go to Andre Gower's page on Instagram. He's always posting new stuff about the documentary and also what's going on in that world as well. Kill Moi is on Facebook.
Okay.
Go follow Kill Moi on Facebook, but mostly if you just follow me on Instagram, I will tell you when things are happening and when things are being released.
Okay. I'll make sure to, guys, I'll get these URLs from you, and I'll make sure that I archive these. These will all be on accesskevin.com,
Right.
and people can get all these links. How about CJ Graham? How do we get to you again?
Well, hey, Kevin. First and foremost, obviously, Missy. But I do have a website for merchandise. It's jason6.com. Or you just Google CJ Graham, and it's probably one of the top 4 or 5 SEOs. And you just click right through Jason Voorhees store, and you can purchase anything there. And it does have direct contact information, but straightforward. You get a hold of Missy straight, and she takes care of most of my bookings for conventions and personal appearances.
Awesome.
But jason6.com, and I do have Facebook. I do have one that's an official Jason6, so it's pretty filled up right now, and you have to cycle through them periodically because people get inactive.
Right.
But other than that, I kind of stay with the 2 principles, and that way it's not too much to archive or oversee all the time.
Good, man.
Oh, you know what else? Sorry, I'm part of this. I'm this large troupe of performers that do something. They've been doing it a lot lately, called Scripts Gone Wild, and it is online, sort of like the format we're doing here, where we're all. We used to do it live at a bar, and it's a wonderful organization. It's all for charity, and we'll read a script with other performers. Jonah Ray's done it. I've done a few. I did Jason Lives. I was Tommy.
Really?
Yeah, I was Tommy.
Nice.
That was a big one. People loved that one. So you can find that everywhere. Scripts Gone Wild. If we mess up while we're reading, you have to drink.
Oh,
By the end of the scream, I mean, we did Jurassic Park, and by the end we were like, you know, we were like totally hammered, and so was the audience, and that's really fun.
This sounds like a pandemic Halloween party, just waiting to happen.
Is. You can go there now. They do them I think they do them at least once a week now.
Okay.
And I'm doing one, I don't believe, until the end of November. But the troops are really great, and you'll know all the actors and at least a few of them that do it. So if you just go to Scripts Gone Wild, they're a wonderful group of people. Right
on. That's cool. Missy, I just would love for you to plug Scarlet Abbey again one more time, because I'm really impressed with what you've done.
Plug? What do you want me to say?
Well, so obviously people can go to the scarletabbey.com, but if they get there, they can get directly to you, or you've got your handlers getting you messages, right? So
there's Missy Gordon, the Scarlet Abbey on Facebook, Scarlet Abbey on Instagram, and always go to the website. You can reach out through there at www.thescarletabbey.com. Right
on. This is so cool. Halloween, you guys, this is amazing. We made it. We're all safe and sane. Ryan made it through the LA fires. Look at that. I was CJ before you popped on. I said it looks like Ryan is like stuck a little bit in the cloudy LA fires above Glendale. But, I just want to
say real quick though, I do miss the convention world. I miss my family, my con family. I miss my clients, my friends. It's been hard. It's been a hard year, I know, for everybody, but it's I don't know how soon it will be close to normal. It's gonna, I think, take a while, but I just want these 3 to know, and you too, Kevin. I miss you guys. I really do, and I can't wait to get back out there.
I miss you too, man. This is what we've got for now. You know, this is like the big virtual hug time. But, for you folks out there that are watching and chiming in the chat, we'll have links to every one of their socials and their websites, so you can actually interact and find merchandise, help sustain their lifestyles right now, so that we can get back out there and get some more entertainment to you guys. this thing will end eventually. And in the meantime, we can just stay in touch with each other and support each other. And that's what this is all about. So CJ, Ryan, Nick, Missy, I really can't tell you how much I appreciate you spending Halloween with me here. This is fun.
Thank you.
Thank you guys all. Thank you guys for supporting. If you have not yet, please, folks, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you subscribe and you get set up for notifications, you can actually, you'll be notified when we have plenty of other guests. I've got Martha Davis from the Motels coming up. We'll have Dave Aberzees from Pearl Jam.
I know Martha.
Oh yeah, Martha's a dear friend, and yeah, she lives.
I love her.
She too has a little farm out here, just outside of Portland. Yeah. But done a lot of gigs with her, with my Flock of Seagulls gig. So we, she'll be fun. And I ran so fun. Sorry. It's okay. That's all right, man. I almost came in costume for you just today.
I thought you did.
Yeah, well, I got to work on that, man.
You got to do the flip at the front.
That's right. That's right. So. Anyway, please subscribe to the channel, you guys, and we will return back. Thank you guys for being my first guests back with my new Frankenstein scars. So I appreciate it. Missy, I love you. Thank you again. And you guys be safe this Halloween. Let's get back out there to entertaining the people. What do you say?
Sounds good.
I'm with
All right.
Bye, Kevin.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Halloween.
Kevin.